Joining us now, Lara Trump, the host of the Fox News show My View with Lara Trump. Lara, it's so wonderful to see you again. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you very much. Okay, let's go through it. The market's taking hits, a lot of volatility, notably after that announcement came out that the all-in tariff on China is 145%. When will all of this be over? How fast are the trade deals getting done, especially with China? People get it about reorienting the economy. When does the White House say, yes, we've got this wave of deals coming in? When do you think?
Well, I think it's happening pretty quickly. You know, the fact that you've had within the span of a week, 75 countries come to the table and say, hey, we need to negotiate. The fact that China is indicating that now they're no longer going to be a holdout, that they also want to come to the table. The reality is, Liz, the world knows that they need to work with the United States. The world knows that the United States has been the whipping post for far too long. And we finally have a president who's standing up and exposing it all and saying we've got to restructure this a little bit. You know, what's funny is on my show coming up this Saturday night, one of the things I do is I sit down with several business owners in the Florida area. A lot of these business owners had no idea, even though they did a lot with imports and exports, that some of these tariffs were in place, that some of this was so imbalanced. And I think President Trump is yet again educating so many people on something they didn't even know was happening. The great news is it is moving forward. The time frame obviously will be up to the White House. They say that this is not a one-size-fits-all deal. They're going to sit down with every single nation, and they want to work out something that's great for the United States and is fair for that country and you know, for the world overall.
So
will be a better deal. Hopefully faster than slower, but you know, I think it'll take some time to get through 75 countries. Okay. Seems like they got 15 done already, though, so that sounds good.
Interesting. You know, maybe twice as long as the 90 days if you're going to do 75 nations with deals. But what do you say to the small businessman who says these tariffs are going to put me under, or the small businesswoman who says that? What do you say to critics who say the tariffs are too big, the calculation was flawed, that a number of countries are too small or too poor to buy enough U.S. goods to offset their exports, like the tiny African nation of, say, Lesotho or Madagascar? What do you say to the criticism, what's going on?
There will always be critics about everything. The reality is this is meant to make it fair for the United States and fair for the rest of the world. And it has not been for so long. And look, you can't keep doing this in perpetuity and expecting a good result for the United States. We do have these trade deficits. It's hurting American companies. You've seen manufacturing leave America. President Trump wants to bring it back. He wants us to buy American, hire American, build and manufacture here in the United States once again. And, you know, he wants to do what's fair. So for those smaller countries, I think he's going to do the right thing. He doesn't want to do anything to hurt them, but it has to be fair for the United States. And look, that's the reason I sat down with these small business owners, because I said, look, I want to hear from the people out there who are dealing with this day in and day out. What they all told me, Liz, is we get it. We understand that this is necessary. And even President Trump acknowledges there will be some upfront pain. This isn't going to be perfect in the beginning, but long term for this country, and hopefully sooner rather than later, as we're talking about here, we're going to see things start to change for the better for the United States. He wants to do it for his grandchildren, for future generations of Americans, because, again, much like DOGE is going to root out all the waste, fraud, and abuse in the U.S. government, the bloated federal budget that we have to do this sort of thing. And it took somebody with guts. It took President Trump to actually do it. And I think this country is going to be much better off.
So, you know, what the media is not reporting, this isn't getting enough play in this story. President Trump has been called a master deal maker. Let's go to the deals he has accomplished. The trade deal to replace NAFTA, which got better terms for American workers. The 2017 tax cuts, the Abraham Accords, the 2020 China trade negotiations. He's got stuff done.
He certainly has gotten quite a bit done. And, you know, that was his first term in the White House, where he was still getting his bearings and still figuring things out. This is the beauty of having a businessman in the White House. He understands negotiations. He understands how to read a room, how to read his opponent, how to understand to exchange with people and what makes sense. And that's where we're going to reap the rewards as the American people. I think it's amazing to have someone who has signed, the front of a check sitting in that Oval Office, not just the back of a check. He's been a business owner. He's been a leader. He's been this business mogul for so long. And now he's bringing that same sort of idea to the Oval Office. He's not just the president. It feels like he's the CEO of America. And that's why we're seeing all of these great things happen. And I think we'll continue to see it happen.
Lara Trump, a pleasure to see you again. Thanks for being with us. It's good to see you.